Matt Ryan, and welcome to my city.
I know you got your own town. I know you got your own ways. I know there's no place like home, but I know you're gonna like it in my city. Everybody's welcome here. Everybody welcome to my city. We ain't got no worries here.
Let's go! Come on!
I know you're gonna like it in my city. We do it all night long.
This is what we play for right here!
Everything you
Oh
need.
my goodness! Welcome to Atlanta!
Music plays all night long.
Diving into the end zone, touchdown Saints!
Welcome to my city. Everybody's welcome here. Everybody welcome to my city. Come on, come on. You ain't never had a party till you come to a party in my city.
And on Thursday night, Football City brings us to Atlanta, Georgia, and the Georgia Dome. And the matchup in the NFC South, it's the New Orleans Saints and the Atlanta Falcons. As you take a look at the South standings of the NFC, New Orleans has got the lead at 8-2, but Carolina's Panthers, after their win on Monday night, have got a paw right on their shoulder pad. And obviously Atlanta disappointed with their 2-8 beginning to this season. Welcome to Atlanta and Week 12 of the NFL season, everybody. Brad Nessler along with Mike Mayock. Well, the Saints come marching in, partner. They're 8-2. They're rolling along like they were 2 years ago when they won this division.
And you know, the band is back together, and I don't think they've missed a beat. Sean Payton and Drew Brees are tied together at the hip. At age 34, I think Drew Brees is playing both at a Pro Bowl level and maybe even a Super Bowl level with this team he has surrounding him. However, the biggest difference is on defense. Defensive coordinator Rob Ryan has been bought into by every defensive player on this team. His energy, his scheme, and I think the biggest beneficiary is defensive lineman Cameron Jordan. Very quietly, Brad, I think he's becoming one of the best defensive players in the NFL.
Well, for the Atlanta Falcons, they were 13-3 last year. They were 10 yards away from winning the NFC Championship and going to the Super Bowl. So it's been a major disappointment. Within the first 2 weeks of the season, they lost 5 starters. That hasn't helped. They've reshuffled their offensive line 5 times. And I think it's a character check for Mike Smith's group tonight, Mike.
You know, and it's a division rival. Not only a division rival, but your biggest division rival. You're in your house, and you better put forth your best effort tonight. And I think it's going to come down to turnovers. Last year, the Falcons, one of the best in the league at plus 13 turnover differential. This year, in only 10 games, they're minus 11. You can't beat a good football team unless you win that battle.
This is the oldest rivalry in the NFC South, the 89th renewal tonight. And with more on that, Alex Flanagan. Alex.
Well, Brad and Mike, it's no secret that these two teams don't like each other because of that rivalry and because of that. Despite Atlanta's 2-8 record, players on the team tell me that they're having no problem getting up for tonight's game. You might remember last year in Week 13, the tables were kind of turned. The Saints came here to Atlanta. They were in the middle of a miserable season, really, and they came here and they played with a ton of heart. And so Falcons wide receiver Roddy White tells me that that will be the goal of the Atlanta Falcons tonight, to come out and play with heart. Meanwhile, head coach Sean Payton telling me that regardless of scheme, this game always comes down to effort and energy. And so Brad and Mike will have to see who has more of it this evening.
And this is always a great matchup, and what a difference a year makes when you get your coach back. Sean Payton, who missed last year, and now back, and they've already won more games than all of last season. Mike Smith's never had a losing season for Atlanta. He's facing one unless his team can put together a winning streak. New Orleans won the toss. They want the football. Matt Bosher set to kick away. Traveris Cadet is back deep. And as always, a noisy Georgia Dome when these two teams get together. First game this year, 23-17. That was the opener at the Superdome. Now we've switched domes, and in the Georgia Dome, we're set to start Week 12. And this one won't be returned, so Drew Brees and company will come out to the 20-yard line. Another sensational season for Drew Brees. 38 yards away from the 5th most in NFL history. Last season, a lot of problems. We did that game. A career high 5 picks.
Yeah, Atlanta's hoping there's still some ghosts in this building. But watching him on tape, I think he's playing as well as he's ever played in his career. His footwork in the pocket, he's an underrated athlete. The big issue tonight is Darren Sproles is not here. One of their two matchup mismatches won't be available tonight.
Mark Ingram, the tailback, gets the first carry, and he's stuffed immediately by Corey Peters. That's a good start for the Atlanta front. And let's take a look at the Saints' difference makers tonight offensively.
Well, Jimmy Graham, everybody knows, one of the best tight ends in the game today, regardless of an injury status. And Pierre Thomas, an all-around player, great runner, underrated catcher, and I really like his pass protection skill set.
51 catches coming in. No gain on the opening play. Second down and 10. And that's Graham in motion. The fullback moves shifted to the right as well. And that's where Thomas is going to run right into Paul Worrilow. And the rookie out of Delaware with his first tackle of the night, and he's had 54 tackles in the last 3 games.
Boys, he had just a phenomenal run since he became the starter in week number 4. Sees the guard pull, comes in behind, a tackle for a loss, and this kid is a phenomenal story out of University of Delaware, undrafted, hoping to make the team as a special teams player. Instead, he's become a tackling machine now.
Has he ever? 75 stops coming in. That was number 76, and it puts the Saints and Drew Brees in a 3rd down and 13. Brees, plenty of time. Looking to his check down on the near side, and that's where he's going to come, and it's Graham, but I don't think he's going to get to the first down. Nice job by the Falcons defense. He picked up 6. Desmond Trufant, the rookie out of Washington, made the tackle.
Rush 3, drop 8. He was looking for Stills. Here comes Moore. Nothing there. This is the side he was looking to. Stills was covered. Colston was covered. Eventually just had to check it down.
So 3 and out. Mike Nolan's defense couldn't ask for anything better, forcing Thomas Morstead to punt.
Let him go! Let him go! Let him go!
And they kick it to the near sideline. It's going to go out of bounds around the 24. And that's where they're going to spot it. And Matt Ryan gets his first taste of the action. And Matt's had a tough month. The last 4 games, 9 interceptions. Never had a stretch like that in his 5th year, beg your pardon, out of Boston College. And he's never lost 3 games in a season at the Dome, and he has already to see the 2-3 mark.
When you look at the tape of week 1, you got the game you expected. Came down to the last snap of the game. Steven Jackson dropped a short touchdown pass. Atlanta loses, goes on to 2-8. New Orleans wins, and they're an 8-2 team. It's kind of an amazing turnaround.
The first month of the season, the Falcons, all the games were 7 points or less, and they found ways to lose them. That's what they did do last year. They found ways to win those. Ryan pump fake and trying to throw a streak to Harry Douglas on the sideline, incomplete. Kenny Vaccaro and Malcolm Jenkins back there covering as we take a look at the Falcons' difference makers offensively.
Roddy White finally healthy, missed 3 games on the inactive list, hurt his foot in preseason, just rounding into form. And what can you say about Tony Gonzalez? 13 Pro Bowls, one of the best tight ends that ever played the game.
Closing in on 1,300 catches for a tight end. 2nd down and 10, draw play, Steven Jackson. Jackson up the middle, and a nice gain out to the 32-yard line. Pickup of 8. And already a little scuffle going on between these two teams. We check the difference makers for the Saints tonight.
You know, up front, I think they're special. Junior Gillette, explosion off the edge, and Cameron Jordan plays 60-plus snaps a game at 100%. He's a run stopper, and he can push the pocket.
He's got 7 sacks on the year. Former #1 pick a couple of seasons ago. Jackson again, big hole up the middle. And this is something the Falcons have not had all season long, is a ground game. Remember, Jackson got hurt early in the season, and this is what they expected from him when they got him in the offseason, Mike.
Yeah, and Garrett Reynolds is going to get the key block. Roman Harper, a safety, is in on a nickel package. They're running the football against nickel. That's a good call by Matt Ryan.
Empty backfield here on a 1st down at the 40.
Ready, go! Go! Rangers! Go! Rangers!
5 receivers for Matt Ryan on first down. Pump fakes and now comes back across the middle to Harry Douglas. And Harry Douglas out across the 45, close to the 47-yard line.
Matt Douglas he got hit in the head, Brad. Somebody slapped him right in the head.
Personal foul.
I think it's Cam Jordan.
Roughing the passer. Defense number 94.
Well, you said he was going to be a difference maker.
First down.
His father was Steve Jordan, Pro Bowl tight end from the Minnesota Vikings. You'll see him come off the edge working on Lamar Holmes. Watch the hands of the head late. And in today's NFL, that's a foul 100% of the time.
You might not see a punch that good in the Pacquiao fight on Saturday night. So Atlanta already in New Orleans territory at the 38-yard line. Scoring on opening drives has been a killer for the Falcons this year. That was one of their strong suits last year, but they've got something working here. Steven Jackson, another good run, pickup of 6.
You know, and he was hurt, Brad. Back in week number 2, 5 starters went out. And Jackson missed the next 4 games. He's just kind of rounding back into shape. Last week they had a drive going on the first drive of the game, just like this. Jackson had it going, and they got sacked 2 consecutive plays in a row.
Now they'll try a draw play again. This time Saints waiting for it, but Jackson battles through to pick up a real tough yard. No points on the opening drive in the last 6 games. Trying to change that here. And already in Matt Bryant field goal range. Jackson a good start in the Atlanta backfield. He gets a breather, and Jaquiz Rodgers checks in. 7th play of the opening drive for Atlanta. And another 3rd down situation. 3rd down at 3. Ryan out the flat to Quiz Rodgers. He's got the first down and more. Rodgers inside the 10 where it's 1st and goal Atlanta. 23-yard pass play. Got a good block from Darius Johnson on the outside.
Release right here. We'll get a key block from Gonzalez, who's out in front of him. That is a run play, basically. Gonzalez was blocking all the way. Good job at the end. Another key block by Darius Johnson. That's a heck of a 3rd down play.
1st and goal at the 9. Rodgers.
Good hit.
Trying to weave his way inside. Got 3. And bring up 2nd down and goal.
Yeah, I think Corey White got a pretty good shot on him that time, along with Roman Harper. Now, Brad, this is where they can't trade field goals for touchdowns.
Opening drive of the game, and the Falcons have moved it down to the New Orleans 6. Roddy White and Harry Douglas to the near side. That's Tony Gonzalez in tight on Matt Ryan's left. Ryan crossing route, got it to Johnson, and he's in. Touchdown, Atlanta. So much for no points on an opening drive.
Exactly what they needed. They're building, hated rival. Johnson's knee might be down. They're going to have to take a close look at this. Watch the knee right there. He's down. That ball's coming back somewhere close to the 1-yard line, I believe.
Terry Robisky, the receiver coach over there, patting his rookie on the helmet. Here's another look.
See where that knee goes down? Right there. Very close.
So the play under review with 9:04 remaining 1st quarter. Thursday Night Football is brought to you by Walmart. Walmart's got the season's hottest gifts at everyday low prices. Come in and see for yourself. And delivered by Papa John's, official pizza sponsor of the NFL. That last play was ruled a touchdown, a 6-yard toss from Matt Ryan to Darius Johnson. And here's another look. And that doesn't seem humanly possible that his knee's not down there, but it is right about there. Wow.
Yeah,
again,
I thought.
Where's the ball at that time?
You would think that his knee touched a long time ago, but it didn't. Here you go. The knee goes up in the air. Right there, he's got to be down, right?
But then you wonder if the football's pretty much on the goal line.
And now they're going to match that with that. Now, if that's a match, then it's a touchdown.
So that's an exact time code, we call that, down in the truck. I didn't know that till a couple minutes ago.
From two different angles,
That's
the
right.
exact time code, so they can match it up. And if that's the case, it looks like it's just a touchdown. Wow.
By the half of the football, maybe. But again, we're waiting on Jim Lapatina and Ron Winter, our referee, will give us the official call. So the Falcons thinking they went from their own 24-yard line to the Saints end zone, but we're still waiting on it. It will either be a touchdown or it'll be 3rd down and goal. Here's a call.
After review, the runner's left knee is down before the ball breaks the plane of the goal line. It's 3rd down. The game clock will start on the ready for play. The ball is short of the goal line.
Johnson stretched out all he could and remained airborne as long as he could, but they're going to put it down inside the 1-yard line. That's a tough one to overrule, but it has been. So now Matt Ryan and the offense has to go back out there, make sure they've got all their able bodies. They bring in 2 tight ends and an extra lineman as well.
And more importantly, they've got to kind of recalibrate their thoughts here. They thought they had a touchdown. Now you've got 3rd and goal. And you can't be trading field goals for touchdowns, as I said earlier.
And 3rd down and 1 or less has been something the Atlanta Falcons have struggled with the last couple of years. Steven Jackson did a lot of the legwork to get him close. He'll be the guy that tries to get him in, and he's up and over. Touchdown, Atlanta. So the statistics changes from a rookie wide receiver to a veteran running back, but I don't think the Falcons care. And that's a fired up bunch, a group that's had trouble scoring on opening drives, as we said, for the last month and a half. They go the length of the field and put it in the end zone. Matt Bryant in for the point after. Atlanta in front, 7-0. They led 10-0 in the Superdome and lost. They're off to a great start here. 76 yards in 10 plays. Steven Jackson, a touchdown, Atlanta.
Samuel L. Jackson, and welcome to Thursday Night Football. Rise up!
Samuel L's got his Falcon jersey on. There's the touchdown, capping a 76-yard 10-play drive in 4 minutes 17 seconds. And the Falcons in front, 7-0, and it was a 3-and-out the first time for Drew Brees and the Saints. Matt Bosher to kick off. Cadet will have a shot at this one from the 1-yard line. Out across the 20, close to the 22, where Robert McClain made the stop on special teams. Sunday on game day morning, we're going to preview the next chapter of Brady versus Manning, and we'll sit down with sports legends to discuss what it feels like to be part of a historic rivalry. NFL game day morning, it's at 9 a.m. Eastern, only on NFL Network. So Drew Brees down a touchdown early.
We talked with him about what he and Sean Payton do the first couple series every game, and they set up a whole bunch of personnel groupings and formations. First 10 or 15 snaps to see how the defense reacts. Just a matter of poking and prodding until they find something they like.
Play action. Brees wants to throw a screen in the middle. He's going to throw it in the dirt as Atlanta got a nice rush. Paul Warlow again raising some havoc. The linebacker, the rookie.
Corey Peters does a really nice job. I think right here in the middle. Watch how quickly they react to screen. Brees is looking to his left, trying to sell it. Corey Peters chases right down the line of scrimmage. Parade Jerry was underneath the ball carrier. Atlanta had a better chance of catching that one, and Drew with the big eyes just threw it away.
Brings up 2nd down and 10. Brees in an empty backfield, directing traffic. Falcons bring a blitz. Brees throws complete out to the 25, short gain. Pierre Thomas His 52nd catch of the year, but it doesn't net them a first down. It'll be third down. Difference makers for Atlanta defensively. How about this kid? Rookie free agent leading the team in tackles. And Sean Weatherspoon made his return last week, and he's kind of the heart and soul of the Falcons defense in his 4th year out of Missouri.
Big third down. So far, Mike Nolan's done a great job confusing. They've gone with an odd front on run downs, and now they're back to their even front on pass downs.
They were 3 and out on their first series. This time, Graham will assure them that they'll have a first down. Nice pitch and catch to the big tight end.
Thomas Deku is the safety, and you can see he's a matchup nightmare. I love the way he steps up the field to the outside before he comes back underneath. That's setting up Deku, and he's a rare tight end because he's got wide receiver movement skills.
He comes out, and the extra wide receiver goes in for the first down for the Saints at their own 34. Breeze, far side, complete. Lance Moore, and he's run out by Robert McClain.
I kind of think Robert McClain is a little bit underrated. Plays nickel, does a nice job in this Mike Nolan scheme.
Falcons a lot of times have 2 rookie corners out there. Robert Alford was their 2nd round pick. Desmond Trufant was their 1st round selection.
Yep. And then the 2 rookie free agent linebackers.
Yeah.
We talked about Warlow, but don't forget Joplo Bartu is also starting. Got 4 rookies in there, sometimes 5.
Yellow lady.
2nd down and 5. Here's a stretch play, and it's Mark Ingram. Ingram trying to stiff arm Warlow, but he's going to ride him out of bounds, along with help from William Moore. And a little jawing going on between Moore and Ingram.
And the fullback column is going to get just enough of Weatherspoon to allow Ingram to run through the arm tackle. There's the piece. Weatherspoon late. Ingram runs through it. And Warlow is going to go sideline to sideline, folks.
3rd down and short. Saints picked up their last 3rd down on the pass to Graham.
Alert Jimmy Graham. He's out here with a tiny corner on him. He's got Desmond Trufant out here.
They'll run the other way, and Thomas has a big opening, first down, and he's all the way down to the Falcon 44-yard line. Pick up a 13.
Really good job by Tim Lolito, their starting right guard, who's in the game because Jairi Evans is hurt. Rookie, undrafted free agent, gets up to the linebacker level, takes his guy 10 yards downfield before burying him. He's out of Grand Valley State, and I'm going to tell you right now, he's a phone booth guy. He's a mauler. There's Jairi Evans, missing tonight, his 2nd game he's missed this year.
Saints in Atlanta territory for the first time. And Breeze, play action, might take a shot here. And he will. Incomplete, intended for Graham. And it was Desmond Trufant covering.
Yeah, that was a rare misconnect between Breeze, who does a great job. I just love watching his feet in the pocket. Wow, is he good.
And he and that guy together are really good. Coach and quarterback on the same page.
Yeah, they really are. They're dialed in.
2nd down at the 44. Breeze in the gun. Thomas with him there. Blitz coming. Throws complete to Thomas. Broke 1 tackle. Warlow almost had a face mask there, and they bring him down, but not before he got to the 36-yard line. And Joplo Bartu, the other rookie linebacker, finally made the stop. We talked about Sean Payton and Drew Brees when they get their heads together. Nobody's been better in the NFL in yards or points, both NFL records for a coach and quarterback tandem. Here's another 3rd down. They picked up a 3rd and 7. They picked up a 3rd and 1. Now they've got 3rd and 3 right in between.
Confusion.
Breeze going to flare it out. Tough catch by Thomas. He's got the first down and down the sideline all the way to the 20-yard line. Boy, that was a tough adjustment for Thomas. You think that's an easy throw. It's not.
all kinds of confusion. Look what's happening here. Everybody's worried, but at pre-snap, they're going to move this way, and there's nobody on this side of the field. Watch the rotation. Here comes the throw. They're rotating, man-to-man coverage. Nobody picks up Pierre Thomas. That's a busted assignment right there.
You talked about his ability coming out of the backfield. How about that little pirouette just to make the catch? Yep. He had to do a spin move to get his hands on the football. And it's at the 19 for New Orleans. Back to Ingram. Cut back. Ingram, nice run to the 15. Jonathan Babineau made the tackle. Mark Ingram, former #1 pick, Heisman Trophy winner out of Alabama. Drew Brees really good when he gets down here. He doesn't make many mistakes in the red zone, and they're there right now at the 14-yard line. He'd love to have Darren Sproles out there, but he's in street close. 11th play of the drive coming up for New Orleans. Second down and 6. Straight drop, pump fake by Brees to the end zone, and it's intercepted. No, dropped. Tufan had a hand on it. William Moore was there too. It was Marcus Colston, the intended receiver.
Yeah, and Drew was working the manipulation with his head and shoulders. He's trying to move safeties. He knows he's coming back, but that's a great job by the corner and the safety. Trufant underneath, who got a piece. There's the manipulation. He comes back. Trufant had his hands on the ball, but William Moore knocked it loose.
Yeah. Friendly fire.
Right.
The rookie took it right in the chin, and he probably would have had an interception in the end zone. As it is, third down at 6. Brees goes one way, back across the middle. Now Colston does have it. It's first and goal at the 3.
And Brad, watch the pump fake here to move people. He's going to pump to the right. Watch the linebacker slide on the pump and then come in right behind over here. Linebacker slides, bang. Hits it in the hole right in between. He does that 8 to 10 times a game where just his head and shoulders move linebackers.
John Witherspoon told us yesterday a lot of time he's pump faking to air. There's not even a receiver in the area, but it makes you think twice. First and goal. Play action. Brees crossing route Colston, but he's tackled short of the goal line by Robert McClain. Nice stop by McClain. That would have been a touchdown.
McClain was on the back side of that, and he stayed home. He's all the way over here, and the route's coming across to him. I like the fact that he didn't chase all the way across. He recognized color flashing across his face. He picked that up, made a great tackle in the open field.
Falcons trying to switch up their defense because the Saints have brought in an extra lineman. They got their power package in there on a 7-minute drive. And they go to the fullback, and he's stuffed by Jonathan Babineau.
You know, if you're going to run that play, your center's got to get some movement. And De La Fuente this time, watch what happens. He's going to get Jack back right into the backfield. Really good job on the nose, jacking him 3 yards into the backfield.
On third and goal, Brees, play action, lofts it, and caught. Touchdown in the back of the end zone, Benjamin Watson. Wow. The veteran tight end out of Georgia in the back of the end zone with a 1-yard touchdown catch.
And that's all Drew Brees. Throwing it over Deku's head, 1 foot, knee, everything's down. As long as he had possession, that's clearly a touchdown. And that's a veteran quarterback taking his time, being patient, allowing that tight end to come clear along the back line and putting it up in the air high for him.
So a long time consuming drive, and we're a point away from being tied. Garrett Hartley in for the point after. And again, been around a long time. Watson played his college ball here in the state. Extra points is good. 1:17 remaining in the quarter. 78-yard drive and 15 plays engineered by Drew Brees. His 27th touchdown pass of the year has evened the game up. With his yardage passing on that drive, Drew Brees moves into the number 5 spot all time in career passing yards. And that's some really good company.
And who did he pass? It was Warren Moon, right?
Warren Moon, yeah.
Who spent, what, 6 years up in Canada. I wonder what his numbers could have been.
And his 27th touchdown pass of the year. 1-yarder to his tight end. So we even things up. And Quiz Rogers will watch this one go out of the back of the end zone. Atlanta will be back on offense. Matt Ryan and company in a tie game when we come back. Thursday Night Football is brought to you by Craftsman and by Pizza Hut. Stuffing 3 cheeses into our crust since, well, we just did it. It's new. Brad Nessler, Mike Mayock, Alex Flanagan, and our NFL Network crew at the Georgia Dome in Atlanta. Tie game. Atlanta working from the 20-yard line. Their second offensive drive. First drive took them 76 yards in 10 plays. A little over 4 minutes for Steven Jackson to get a 1-yard touchdown.
Stillwater! Chevy, 41 Stillwater!
Biggest play of that first drive, the pass from Matt Ryan to Jacquizz Rodgers. Jackson goes for about 4. Falcons with Steven Jackson acquiring him, looking to upgrade their running game from Michael Turner, who was around here and did a great job for a lot of years, but started to get a little bit of wear on his tires. And then Jackson comes out, has a nice start to the season, but as you said, on the first touchdown he scores in an Atlanta uniform. He strains a hamstring and he misses a good chunk of the season, much like a lot of their starters have.
And in hindsight, Thomas Dimitroff and the organization has taken some heat for signing him. However, let's face it, a lot of people prior to the season were saying, wait a minute, this could be the missing piece to a Super Bowl run.
Second down and 6. Ryan, empty backfield. Gets hit by his own lineman, got away and throws on the run, and he completes it to Johnson, the guy that almost had a touchdown on the opening drive. So the rookie out of SMU with another big catch and a pickup of 16. And a nice job by Matt Ryan of buying himself some time.
Man-to-man, Roddy White is covered. Now here's where he's trying to go. Double team there on Gonzalez. That forced him to pull the football down and run away with it.
And that's going to bring the first quarter to a close. So some nifty footwork by Matt Ryan nets Atlanta a first down. Dead even in the NFC South after 1. Tuesday, former Saint Steve Gleason helped unite New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina. Now ALS has him fighting for his life. A remarkable journey. It'll inspire you. All new Football Live, Steve Gleason, Tuesday at 9 Eastern, only on NFL Network. Set to start the second quarter for the Falcons. They've got it first down at their own 41-yard line.
Stillwater! Chevy, Stillwater!
Jackson comes up to have a word with his quarterback. He'll get the handoff. On the cutback run, Jackson picks up 3 or 4 more. Brad Nessler, Mike Mayock, Alex Flanagan. Great start. This is kind of like week 1 when these two teams opened the season.
I mentioned to you before, I watched that tape earlier this week, and it looked like 2 quality football teams, what you expected. And obviously with all the injuries to Atlanta, what's happened, they're 2-8, but tonight's a nice, clean, efficient football game.
Matt Ryan has had all kinds of trouble the last month with interceptions so far. A clean game. It's been a pretty clean pocket for him to pass from. 2nd and 7, going to go long for Darius Johnson again. And flags fly in. Corey White was back there covering.
And remember, he's in for Jabari Greer, who got hurt last week. And at the very end, and Brad, I talk all the time about corners and defensive backs that panic because they can't find the football. At the very end, he's going to wrap his arms around the receiver.
Defense number 24. Penalized at the spot of the foul and a first down.
So Darius Johnson working deep fade route. Watch White at the very end, wraps his arms around him. He loses the football. And that's where you get in trouble right there in the NFL. Get your head around, find the ball. You can't body him up like that.
A 31-yard pickup by penalty. And Atlanta at the Saints 25. Ryan going to work again. Whoa, and he got collared and buried by Akeem Hicks. And that was a similar play that Drew Brees had against him last week.
Yeah, that's above the shoulders. That's certainly in the neck area, and that should be
a
15-yard penalty. That's more obvious, I thought, than the Brees hit last week.
I'm not sure how you missed that one.
Well, and Garrett, I'm not sure how Garrett Reynolds missed Akeem Hicks either. Hicks is a beast from Regina, Saskatchewan.
The second down and 18. Draw play. Rogers going to be brought down after a pickup of about a yard. Akeem Hicks again.
And they've been having a lot of problems up front in the interior part of the line. Right at 75, Reynolds, little swim move, and here comes Hicks. 324 pounds, rare movement skills. Look where the hand hits. Face mask, helmet, call whatever you want. I don't know how you missed that one.
I don't either. Third down and long. So the first time Matt Ryan's hit tonight, he almost loses everything above his shoulders and finds himself in a third down at 17. Throws it over the middle of Roddy White, who gets to the 22-yard line, and that'll put the Falcons a little closer for Matt Bryant to come out and try a field goal.
And I think that's where it's smart. You just check it down. I think when you get greedy and try to make too many plays, that's where you get in trouble.
Bryant's only missed one field goal all year, 15 out of 16. And pretty much Mr. Automatic for Atlanta in his career here. This will be a 39-yard field goal attempt. Matt Bosher to hold. Matt Bryant trying to put Atlanta back in front. And he hits it right down Peachtree Street. So Atlanta scores on its first two possessions of the football game. Drew Brees, his 27th touchdown thrown earlier. He'll have it back in his hands with the Saints down 3 when we come back. Thursday Night Football is brought to you by Jared, the Galleria of Jewelry. Truly unique designs that you won't find just anywhere. That's why he went to Jared. And by KFC. KFC plus football equals couchgating. Saints with the ball back at the 20-yard line after their last drive. Took them 15 plays and 78 yards before Drew Brees hit Ben Watson on a 1-yard scoring toss in the back of the end zone. 11 different receivers Drew Brees hit last week in their win. Here he is on play action. Fires, completes. That'll be a first down out around the 33 to Marcus Colston, who's always been a thorn in Atlanta's side when these two teams get together.
You know, on that last drive, Drew Brees was 4 for 4 on third down, the 4 different receivers. Let's look at 3 of them. Jimmy Graham working man-to-man on a safety. Thomas Deku, that's stealing. A little one-man screen pass helped by a busted assignment by Atlanta. Big play by Pierre Thomas. And finally, watch Dreves' movement. Boom. He's faking there. He gets all the linebackers moving, comes back into the hole created by that movement. First down to Colston.
At the 34-yard line.
Ready.
Robert Meacham, the motion man. They fake the toss sweep, and on a bootleg, it's Brees to Graham, and Graham dropped it. Almost like he didn't see it coming so quickly.
It was thrown way behind him, though.
A couple of misfires tonight. It's not something you see from Drew Brees very often.
You really don't. I think his footwork in the pocket when he rolls out are as good as any quarterback in football. And that time he was on the move comfortably to his right and just threw it behind Jimmy Graham.
Second down and 10. Kenny Stills, the rookie, in motion this time. There's a quick slant, low throw. Colston with a stiff arm on the rookie Trufant. He rides him out of bounds with a first down. Well, that's 225 pounds, 6'4" receiver pushing on a 190-pound rookie cornerback.
And Atlanta was bringing pressure. This was a hot look. Watch how quickly he looks for it. Should be a tackle right there, but as you said, Brad, 6'4", 225. Now, if he torques that face mask at all, it's an offensive face mask penalty. And that was pretty close.
That was about as good a stiff arm to receive from a wideout, I think. Mark Ingram, left side, and Ingram on a cutback. Stood up a yard shy of maybe he got the first down by Warlow. Talked to Ingram last night, and Mark said he feels about as good physically as he did all the way back to his Alabama days. So he's ready to get out here and turn it on tonight, and he's had a couple nice runs.
Against Dallas, he had 14 carries for $145, kind of a breakout game. And I watched his tape there, and it was everything you saw Ness at Alabama. Downhill, one cut, decisive, lower the pad level, quickness, burst, and acceleration. And I think with him healthy, they've got really quite a stable of tailbacks.
Ready, what's up?
Nick Saban's got another stable of tailbacks over there. Play action for Breeze.
Oh, look at that double move.
Deep ball, Graham down the sideline. Not going to get him. Touchdown, New Orleans. And Graham, much like Tony Gonzalez, with the stuff over the crossbar.
That was a beautiful double move by Jimmy Graham. William Moore bid on it the entire time. Easy throw. Play action with heavy personnel in the game. Looks to his right, comes back left. Double move, out and up. Moore bites. They just gave Moore a big contract in the offseason. He's in line. There's the out. I like the fact that he turned his head to the quarterback. Defensive backs ignore that double move unless you take a peek back.
And Graham, for the 11th time this year, goes up. Twists the goalpost a little bit.
Gonna have to get the level out.
Oh, there's and his 11th touchdown catch of the year. They're going to straighten that thing out before Hartley tries an extra point. We'll be back. Post touchdown celebration for Jimmy Graham, up and over, and then pulls the goal. And they got to. This guy's the MVP right now. He's got to get out there with the longest level I've ever seen. Got to get that baby plumb. We've got the crossbar straight again. And Garrett Hartley, the extra point, makes it 14-10 New Orleans. Breeze with 2 touchdown tosses tonight, and both to his tight ends. First to Ben Watson, and then to Jimmy Graham. And New Orleans has got the lead for the first time. Well, Drew Brees will probably end up in the Pro Bowl, as he always does. And the 2014 Pro Bowl balloting presented by McDonald's is open right now. For the first time ever, you can vote for the best players regardless of conference. And then the stars will be realigned when Pro Bowl Hall of Famers Jerry Rice and our own Deion Sanders draft their teams as alumni captains. You can vote right now online and on your mobile device at NFL.com/Pro Bowl ballot. 80-yard drive and only 5 plays for New Orleans. The big chunk, of course, was the 44-yard touchdown toss to that guy. The Falcons kept him relatively in check in the season opener. He caught 4 passes for 45 yards and a touchdown. And that one went 44 down the sideline, taking William Moore the last 2 or 3 yards with him. Thomas Morstead to kick. Quiz Rogers is back deep for Atlanta. Again, this one takes a hop man out of the back of the end zone, so Matt Ryan and the Falcon offense come out to the 20-yard line. So far, both offensive possessions have netted points for Atlanta. The problem is their defense has given up so many in this quarter. Most of any team in any quarter.
And the problem has been the last 4 weeks. They were competitive weeks 1 through 6. However, the last 4 weeks, the second quarters beat them up. They've gotten way behind and then became one-dimensional, and Matt Ryan had to throw the ball almost every snap.
He's in the shotgun right now. Rodgers with him in the backfield. He fakes it to Rodgers and completes it to Harry Douglas. And Douglas a pickup of about 3 on the play. And if there's been a silver lining in the season, as Roddy White told us, it's been the emergence of number 83. Harry Douglas has become and had to become kind of the star of the show with Julio Jones out to the foot injury.
And the interesting thing is he and Matt Ryan were drafted the same year, and we talked to Matt about it yesterday. He said, number one, I trust him, and he and I probably have more sweat equity built up than any 2 quarterback receiver combos on this team.
Ryan 6 out of 7 so far. He's hit his last 6. In fact, 2nd and 7 here. Throws across the middle, and he's got the rookie again, Darius Johnson, who's having a big first half here. Pickup of 15.
New Orleans brought 5. Really good protection. They're going to get a little chip here. The offensive line does a nice job. Plenty of time, and then a good route by Darius Johnson, who's a guy that he's a rookie out of SMU, Brad, undrafted.
Yep.
He ran 4.59, which is not good for a wideout at the combine. He's one of those quicker than fast guys, and he's having a big night.
His best night in a Falcon uniform so far.
2 receptions and a pass interference, but it was a big play that set up a field goal.
That one got him 31 yards by penalty. First down at the 38. Rodgers might have gotten 3 out of the deals. We check in with Alex.
Well, Brad and Mike, guys like Darius Johnson have caused Matt Ryan to have to adjust a little bit how he plays this season. He said that he's had to pay a little bit more attention to detail. He's used to guys like Julio Jones and Tony Gonzalez and Roddy White knowing exactly what he's talking about, knowing the signals, knowing route conversions. And the younger guys have caused him to think it through a little bit more and tell him. Even Steven Jackson, really new to this team, and he's needed a little more help than maybe you'd expect out of a veteran.
Great point. Here's a throw to Jason Snelling on the screen out of the backfield, and Snelling across midfield before he's decked by David Hawthorne. But Jason Snelling, who didn't play a week ago, with his first catch of the night.
And it's only a 3-man rush. Great call against 3-man rush, and a zone drop is screen. Great job by the interior offensive line getting a kick out block, and Snelling cut it up inside.
That's Snelling's 20th catch of the season. And a late flag. And Ron Winter's going to let us know what it's about.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 65 offense. Because the first down was gained on the play, it'll be first down and 10 yards after the 15-yard penalty.
There's Jeremy Trueblood, the Falcons' right tackle, and there's a pretty good left cross.
And that's the retaliation. Hicks pushed him. He retaliated. He got caught. I'd rather just see that one kind of not called.
You know, it's been a problem with the Falcons this year, and over Mike Smith's 6 years, one of the strong points for Atlanta has been their discipline and their lack of penalties, but that hasn't been the case this year.
In that offensive line, they've been reshuffling this line all season long. Both anticipated starting tackles, Sam Baker, Mike Johnson on IR. They picked up Trueblood, who just had the penalty in September. Lamar Holmes was a right tackle. He's now playing left.
They took Peter Kontz out and put Joe Harley back in at center. This is their 5th variation of the offensive line in front of number 2.
Yep. And Matt Ryan just checked because of blitz, and now they're going to play a soft cover 2 behind because they checked out of their blitz.
Throws complete. Snelling again. And 3 or 4 Saints are there to make the hit at the 43-yard line.
And as you said, Brad, so much going on with this offensive line because of injury. I think part of it started with Todd McClure.
Right.
Their center retired in the offseason. Matt Ryan told us yesterday his nickname was Mud.
Yep.
He said that if there was one guy most inspirational for him in his first 5 years in the league, it was Mud.
Anton Smith has checked in to the Atlanta backfield for the first time. Had a couple of big runs in the loss last week. And they're going to give him a handle here. And Smith broke a tackle, got a first down at midfield, and still going. This is a guy that wants to play. Down to the 45-yard line, and now more pushing and shoving after the play.
He broke tackles from 2 300-pound men. And Brad, you mentioned the burst. He had 2 carries for 88 last week, late in the game. Mike Smith said he earned some carries tonight when it matters. Watch the first missed tackle. Akeem Hicks right here, 326 pounds, misses him. There's Hicks. Now he's going to drop the pad level and run through another one.
4th-year pro out of Florida State. Normally on the special teams, but getting some action from scrimmage tonight. And gets a first down for Atlanta at the 44-yard line. And now Steven Jackson. And Jackson pulls his way down to the 40, maybe the 39 for 5 more. This is about the best the Atlanta ground game has looked in a long time.
And I would make the argument that they've got to stay patient with it. Even though they're down 14-10, their backs are running hard. Another missed tackle that time by Stephen Hawthorne, the inside linebacker.
Falcons only average 73 yards a game on the ground. They got 54 right now with 5:45 remaining in the first half. Ryan rips it complete to Darius Johnson again.
And Brad, you see what they're doing. They're picking on Corey White. Remember, Jabari Greer out of the game. And there's a trickle-down effect. Once Greer's out, then Corey White has to start, which affects your nickel package. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say Greer injured his knee in that win over San Francisco and put on IR earlier this week.
Corey White's been playing off most of the game like this, and they've been attacking him.
So Atlanta first down just outside the Saints 28-yard line, trailing 14-10. Jackson straight ahead, keeps the motor running. Hakeem Hicks holds on and pulls him backward, but he did get close to the 25.
Yeah, if True Blood could have kept on his block there, they had something. They're getting some push on that New Orleans front. I know Rob Ryan can't be happy about that because I think they felt like one of their big advantages heading into this game was their front against Atlanta's offensive front.
A defense so much more effective this year than last, both in not giving up points and yards under Rob Ryan. 10th play of the drive for Atlanta at the Saints 26-yard line. All the receivers in tight on both sides. Ryan fires complete on the sideline of the 10, and it's Darius Johnson with his 5th catch of the first half.
And again, they're working on Corey White. Playing off, inside release, he's going to take him back outside. He gets White's back turned, perfect timing on it. And Matt Ryan, like the veteran quarterback that he is, knows who he's going to pick on every snap.
First and goal, Atlanta right at the Saints 10-yard line.
Kenny Vaccaro is now playing the nickel because of the nickel issues they have with the injury to Jabari Greer.
Saints might blitz off the corner. Now they back out of it. Ryan changes things up.
Yep, that was Roman Harper. They're in their dime package right now. 6 defensive backs.
Just got the play off. Ryan throws back shoulder and actually threw it out of bounds, incomplete. Again, it was Johnson, the closest man. It'll bring up second down and goal.
And that was a little bit what Alex was talking about earlier, that disconnect between Matt and Darius Johnson. And he's been spoiled a little bit with having Julio Jones and Roddy White and Gonzalez, and he's got to recalibrate, slow it down a little bit because their football IQ is not up with his yet.
You always think about Tony Gonzalez in this situation. Second down and goal, hasn't caught a pass yet tonight. Ryan looks one way, comes back, complete to Jackson, but he's going to lose a yard.
Yeah, Gonzalez fell down. They had a tight bunch and they wanted to go his side, but he tripped over his own man. He and Roddy White tripped. Tight bunch. They're hoping to work off that. Watch him trip. He goes down. So one of your best receiver in the red zone's out of that play early.
The Saints are going to take a timeout here with 3:28 remaining first half. Atlanta with the 3rd and goal when we come back. Thursday Night Football is brought to you by GMC. Vote for the Never Say Never moment of the week at NFL.com/GMC. And by Toshiba's all-new Kira book. Learn more at KiraSeries.com. Only 3.5 minutes remaining in the half. Atlanta with a 3rd down and goal at the Saints 10-yard line.
Be interesting to see if the Saints try to protect Corey White.
And now Harry Douglas switches to one side. Tony Gonzalez and Roddy White go back the other way. And Ryan's trying to get Quiz Rogers in the right spot.
They've got Rod Sweeting in the game right now.
And Atlanta's going to have to take a timeout.
Yeah.
Boy, coming out of a Saints timeout, Falcons look confused on what they wanted to do. And not wanting to waste a 3rd and goal opportunity, they'll take a timeout.
We talked about Brad earlier not trading touchdowns for field goals,
right.
And this is another situation. If you start to get in a shootout with Drew Brees, you can't afford to kick field goals.
Falcons have had 28 plays tonight, and they have not targeted their all-pro tight end Tony Gonzalez yet. And as Mike said, they would have earlier in this sequence had he not tripped and his feet got tangled with Roddy White.
Well, I think Matt targeted him a couple times mentally, but they had doubled him and took him out of the route.
And that's what so many people have done to Tony Gonzalez this year, bracketing him without Julio Jones being a threat out there because he's not out there. 13th play of the drive.
And I don't think Corey White's in. He's been replaced by Rod Sweeting, a longer corner.
3rd and goal. Ryan, look out. Got away from one man. Pump fakes. He's going to try to get it as close as he can. He slides down at the 5. And that's going to draw a reaction from the crowd, who I guess thought he should have headed to the end zone.
Yeah. You know, he wanted the receiver at the bottom because Rod Sweeting's here, but the safety Bush is going to double him. So remember, they've been picking on Corey White this entire drive. This time they put Sweeting in and they're playing an in and out coverage. Ryan's got nowhere to go, brings the ball down. And Samuel was like, touchdown. No.
So they're going to have to settle for a Matt Bryant field goal. His second of the night makes it a 1-point game. Frustrated Atlanta crowd that their quarterback didn't head to the end zone, but he did get the field goal. 14-13 New Orleans. I'll let you have this one, partner.
Crowd didn't like the decision by Matt Ryan. He tucks it down, runs with it. Now, is Roman Harper and Humber going to be able to tackle him before he gets to the end zone? In my opinion, we ain't talking about Walter Payton here with the football.
We're not even talking about Walter Mitty.
We're not talking about Walter Matthau, Walter Mitty. There's no Walters. And I know people question, well, what, be tough, try and get it in the end zone, but I just think for a quarterback that's got no ability to make you miss, that was a smart business decision.
We forgot Walter Brennan. Kick is deep again and not returnable. So 2:41 for the Saints to work with, and a couple of timeouts as well for Drew Brees. With NFL Mobile from Verizon, you can get in-game highlights and up-to-the-minute news and scores from your favorite team and fantasy players. Premium subscribers can watch live games tonight, Sunday, and Monday nights, as well as NFL Red Zone and NFL Network, all live on your phone. Download today by calling ** NFL or go to NFL.com/mobile. There's not too many guys better in the business than number 9 in this situation. He had 5 scores on 6 possessions. The only other one was a 3-and-out, and that was the Saints' opening possession of the ball game. Here Thomas will be ridden down after a gain of 1 by Corey Peters.
Corey Peters is playing well, and he's kind of beaten up Ryan De La Puente, their center. De La Puente's got good feet, but he's getting moved into the backfield too often tonight in the run game.
Corey Peters had a good game the first time out against New Orleans. Had 7 tackles and a sack down at the Superdome. Second down and 9 for number 9. As you look behind Brees from the 21-yard line. Pressure coming from the backside. Brees in trouble. Gets away. Tripped up. Didn't get the first down. Jonathan Babineau made the stop at the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes to play. 2 NFC South rivals playing for the 89th time. Good football game going on here at the Georgia Dome. This is the 3rd time tonight the Saints have had a 3rd and 1. They've converted all their 3rd downs with the exception of their opening possession of the ball game. Came in 5th in the NFL in 3rd down conversions and showing why tonight.
Travaris Cadet 39 in the game in the Darren Sproles role.
Brees will throw on 3rd and 1. Fires and in and out of the hands. A flag flies in. It was Josh Hill, the rookie tight end. That flag wasn't thrown where he was, though, unless it was a holding call.
Holding. Offense number 68. The penalties declined. Makes it 4th down.
And they'll bring up a 4th down by declining the penalty.
Yeah, that's the rookie free agent Tim Lolito out of Grand Valley State. They ran a twist, and he held on to somebody's neck for dear life. Get called for the hold.
So Robert McClain, who's played a lot in the secondary tonight, drops back as the punt returner for Atlanta. Hasn't been a big night for punters.
or defenders.
Morstead, and almost had it blocked, and boy did he blast it once he got it out of there. McClain back at the 15-yard line. Gets it returned to the 23. Bush made the tackle on the special team, so now Matt Ryan's got him in at 47 and 2 timeouts to work with.
And that was a rare 3-and-out for Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints in the 2-minute drill.
Falcons with a first down with 1:47 remaining in the half, trailing by points here on their home field where they've lost 3 games this year, which is something that's never happened in the Mike Smith, Matt Ryan era. And Matt Ryan, Falcons fans are so used in this situation to see him pull out points before halftime. But again, he's missing one of his key ingredients and has been for most of the season in Julio Jones.
Here's that matchup. They've been making money down there against Corey White.
And that's with Darius Johnson. On the crossing route, it's Harry Douglas out to the 30. And Harry's been kind of the star we mentioned coming in, trying to take, nobody takes Julio Jones' spot, but Harry Douglas came in with 51. But you don't replace a guy like this. You always say next man up. There ain't another one out of there.
Now, there's no dudes like that that are coming off your bench. I mean, he had 41 catches in 5 games and clearly one of the best receivers in football.
Ryan lobs it. Tony Gonzalez first catch is a first down out at the 45-yard line. Pick up a 14.
Yeah, he was coming out of a slot look. He's going to come in and break to the corner. Corner jumps the under route. That was Keenan Lewis. Ryan made the correct read.
Falcons go with a hurry up here. Ryan retreating now, looking for a receiver. And he's going to throw this one away. Got pressure from Tom Johnson, the defensive end for New Orleans. So the clock stopped with 53 seconds remaining in the first half. And again, Atlanta still has 2 timeouts left. Reminder for you, stay tuned to the end of the half. The Lexus halftime show. Rich and the guys all standing by, literally standing right now, checking their phones. They'll bring you the first half highlights and analysis. And Redskins frustrated with RG3. That's all coming up. Lexus halftime show.
41 to Mike. Ready.
Matchup is now at the top of the screen. Corey White.
Second down and 10. 3 receivers to Ryan's left. Matt fires it down the middle, and it is intercepted and in and out of the hands. And nobody's going to pick up the ball. It's going to be incomplete. Malcolm Jenkins had it and was hit simultaneously, and the ball came out.
Yeah, and Brad, I don't like this throw or decision. He's looking for him the whole time. Tight coverage behind him. Malcolm Jenkins makes a great break on the football. What I don't get is that Darius Johnson was on the other side, one-on-one with Corey White with no help. That's where you've been making money all day long. I don't get it.
Tony Gonzalez, best play of the night is defense.
You're exactly right.
Got that ball out of there and gives them another chance. They're down at 10.
Now they're in a too high safety look and make it difficult to throw it deep.
Ryan sidesteps, and he's got to throw it away as he gets flattened. Glenn Foster and Cameron Jordan there. And so the Falcons come up with a 4th down. Again, a couple of plays with pressure on Matt Ryan, including this one.
Yeah, and this guy, Cam Jordan, has become a beast. Beats True Blood to the edge, up the middle. Really good pressure. Foster does a nice job, and Ryan gets hit again.
Cadet back, waiting on Bosher's punt. Bosher's had a couple blocked this year, but the Saints have got the return on right here. Going to field it by going to his knees at around the 13-yard line. 42-yard punt. 34 seconds remaining in the half.
Some pretty good tight ends today, and Jimmy Graham, the way they use him, here he is out as a wide receiver working man-to-man, comes underneath and catches a slant. Next they'll put him in line as a normal tight end position. Off heavy play action, Breeze comes one way all the way back, a double move on a safety. That's 5 yards of separation. And again, I said it earlier, Brad, that is a wide receiver in a tight end's body. 6'7", 265 with rare movement skills.
1 year of football at Miami after playing basketball and has become a star in the NFL. Here's a toss to Pierre Thomas. Got a good block, but he's run out of bounds by Robert Alford, the other rookie cornerback who's in there playing because Desmond Trufant went out when he collided with William Moore trying to make that interception in the end zone. Alex told us that it's a thigh strain right now, and it's questionable whether or not he'll be back. So the number 1 pick is out, number 2 pick is playing.
Right. And Thomas Dimitroff knew at draft time he needed corners. All he had was Asante Samuel, so they traded up from number 30 in the first round to number 20 to get Trufant, and then in the second round they came back and get Robert Alford from Southeast Louisiana.
28 seconds left in the half. Still 2 timeouts. Second down and 7 for Breeze and the Saints from their own 17. Drew finds his receiver Graham short of the first down. And they are going to stop the clock with 19 seconds remaining.
Atlanta very fortunate. Lance Moore ran a double move and was wide open, and Breeze didn't see him.
19 seconds remaining. We've got a timeout. We'll be right back. Another 3rd and 1 for the Saints, and you got to think they'd like to throw something short, get out of bounds, and not have to waste that last timeout. But Breeze is under center.
Now they're just going to get into halftime, I think.
Oh, Pierre Thomas might take them into rethinking. 19-yard run for Thomas.
They were basically conceding halftime right there.
Garrett Hartley going to think about warming up over there. He might still get a shot before the break. 13 seconds remaining. New Orleans now out of timeouts. They need about 25 more yards to give their field goal kicker a legitimate shot. Breeze going to go deep down the middle. He's got Lance Moore, and Moore's to the 41, maybe the 42-yard line. They're going to spot it at the 41, but the clock is going to expire on him.
Yeah.
That timeout they used earlier in the half came back to bite him a little bit, but still on the road. They've got a 1-point lead. End of the first half. Saints 14, Falcons 13. Stay tuned for the Lexus halftime show. It is coming up next.
Welcome to Thursday Night Football.
The Georgia Dome and the matchup, the New Orleans Saints.
Let's go, baby.
And the Atlanta Falcons. It's up and over. Touchdown, Atlanta. Breeze lofts it. Touchdown, Benjamin Watson. Graham down the sideline. Touchdown, New Orleans. Rise up! And the second half does start now. The Falcons trying to rise up as Samuel Jackson talks about 14-13. Just about set to start the third quarter. Let's check out the Volkswagen first half game summary. Saints almost perfect on their third downs. The Falcons 37 of that 59 yards. Steven Jackson on the ground for Atlanta. Brad Nessler, Mike Mayock, Alex is down on the field. Partner Drew Brees and Matt Ryan, both 14 out of 19, almost identical, except Brees has a couple of touchdown tosses.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting. Atlanta has stayed with the run game, and I think that's important. However, Rob Ryan has not allowed Roddy White or Gonzalez to get involved. One catch apiece. Let's see what happens with Darius Johnson. 5 catches in the first half. Do they continue to try to play that card?
They've been picking on Corey White over there on that corner for New Orleans. And the Falcons will get their hands on the football first to start the third quarter. We talked about a character gut check maybe for Mike Smith's Falcons. Through 2 quarters, they have shown that they came to play football tonight against their arch rivals from New Orleans. Let's get out to Alex.
And Brad and Mike, for a team that's 2-8, they've shown an awful lot of fight in the first half of this game, which Mike Smith was very pleased with. He tells me, though, in the second half, they cannot settle for field goals. He says playing against a team like the Saints, when you get in the red zone, you have to score touchdowns. Sean Payton, meanwhile, telling me that the second half ball security will be what they're focused on. He says this is a matchup that will be determined by turnovers, and so far we haven't had any so far in the first half,
Well,
Brad
that's
and Mike.
a huge point, exactly. So Atlanta goes to work from the 20-yard line.
South 50 some Mike. Ready? Go, Eddie, sit down.
Ryan in the gun will throw on the first play and tried to get it to Steven Jackson, and it almost got picked up by Cameron Jordan. Had he kept a hand on it, it would have been a touchdown.
Yeah, really good awareness by Cam Jordan. That's what I mean by he's becoming one of the better players in the NFL. Off the edge, watch him recognize the fact that True Blood's going out in the screen pass, gets a piece. The former first-round pick out of Cal is having a monster year.
It could have been a disastrous first play of the third quarter for Atlanta, as it is second down and 10. And it's a draw play. Jackson out for almost 5. In fact, they'll give him 5. It'll bring up 3rd and 5. We talked about the 2 quarterbacks. And we got an injured Saint on the play, and I think it's Glenn Foster, the defensive end, a rookie out of Illinois. And we'll check on him when we come back. Timeout here in Atlanta. Thursday Night Football is brought to you by the Volkswagen Sign Then Drive event. Visit VWDealer.com. Back in Atlanta, Glenn Foster limping off, and it was friendly fire. Got hit by one of his own guys on that left knee. And I'm surprised that he is even walking around on the sideline. So Atlanta finds itself on the opening possession of the third quarter with a 3rd and 5. Matt Ryan in an empty backfield. He's missed his last 4 passes. He connects on this one to Harry Douglas, and it's a first down across the 30 to the 31.
Good read there by Matt Ryan, understanding down and distance, and New Orleans came into what's called a robber coverage late, a deep safety and a middle safety right in front. Out-breaking routes are where you want to throw that against that defense, and a good recognition by Douglas and Ryan.
Falcons go with a little tempo. Matt Ryan really likes this, going with the no huddle.
Yeah, they've had to slow it down a little bit with all the young wide receivers.
Right.
Keep the lyrics.
Alex mentioned that earlier. He's got to relay info to them sometimes before the snap, which he did there. And now he won't relay anything because he's going down back at the 24-yard line.
Yeah, Hicks is a beast. And he's been kind of chewing up Garrett Reynolds, who's been in and out of the lineup at right tackle. But watch these two here. Hicks at 324 pounds. Cameron Jordan told us the other day that when he uses his hands like he did just there, he's unstoppable.
Jordan gets off the pile, but it's that guy that raised the havoc back there that forced the second sack of the night. And Atlanta finds itself second down and 17. Ryan pumps and is going down again, courtesy of Cameron Jordan. Third sack and back-to-back sacks, much like last week in the opening drive against Tampa Bay.
It's only four-man pressure, but the left tackle, Lamar Holmes, who's a bit slow-footed, is going to lose to the outside speed rush, forcing Ryan up inside, and then Jordan, with his eyes up, sees it and reacts accordingly.
Ron Ryan, the defensive coordinator, his team comes up with back-to-back sacks and forces third down and 19.
Very, very soft zone.
Ryan going to have to loft it out to Quiz Rogers. That's a move on the first man, but got back around the original line of scrimmage. And Atlanta's going to have to punt. So their first possession of the third quarter doesn't go as they had hoped. Good job by the Saints defense getting off the field.
Yep.
And so Atlanta's Matt Bosher will punt. That's Travaris Cadet back deep.
Cadet had an 83-yard kickoff return last week in their big win against San Francisco. He's an explosive kid in the return game.
Let him go! Let him go!
Bosher's
Let
punt.
him go!
Cadet will come up on it. Late fair catch, but takes it at around the 23-yard line. With 11:53 remaining in the third quarter, the Atlanta Aquarium. Great place to visit if you've never made it there before. It's a stop you want to make in this city. Thursday Night Football trivia for you. Tom Brady and Peyton Manning getting together for the 14th time this weekend. Which two quarterbacks started against each other the most times in NFL history?
Good one.
Yeah, it is a good one.
I got to think about that one. You would think they're division rivals, maybe. I think that one through.
Saints opening possession, third quarter. Breeze comes up firing on play action. He's got a man on the far side. Sliding catch by Kenny Stills, the rookie out of Oklahoma. And a pickup of 16. That's Stills' first catch of the night.
Osi Umenyiora did a nice job affecting that play, but there was such a big cushion between Asante Samuel and Stills. The ball was still able to be completed.
Stills had a couple of big catches in the first game of the season between these two teams. Leads the NFL at 22.4. He had 2 catches for 86 yards on opening weekend.
I give this organization a lot of credit for developing young talent, drafted and undrafted.
Here's Ingram. And he works his way out for about 3 yards. I mentioned that Drew Brees hit 11 different guys, Stills being another one added to the list tonight, but 11 different receivers last week in that win over San Francisco. You might say, what's the record for that? That's more trivia for you.
All I know is some teams don't even dress 11 skill position players, let alone hit them all.
Sammy Baugh hit 13 different guys back in the mid-40s in a game.
Wow. Would any of that matter punt formation or what was
It could have been. He did it all.
Slinging Sammy.
Here we go. No, not 5-6.
Second down at 7.
Ready? What's up?
Breeze, quick drop, quick throw, Stills again. Second catch, trying to get to the first down marker. He's going to be a little bit short of it. Bumped out of bounds by McClain after a pickup of 6. 6 different guys tonight for Drew Brees. And that's great because he keeps everybody involved, and your attention span is at a high pitch when you're playing with this guy.
It's a really good point, Brad, because I think on offense, Sean Payton, and on defense, Rob Ryan do a great job of targeting their players as to what they can do instead of what they can't do. And then they program what they can do into the game plan. It's a concept a lot of teams, believe it or not, don't do.
Third down conversions have been good tonight. They're going to go play action on 3rd and 1 this time, and Brees has it knocked down by Thomas Deku. But the Falcons defense comes up with a stop.
Yeah, I thought he was going to take a deep shot that time to his tight end who had one-on-one coverage, but he came off, tripped a little bit, and came down low on the crossing route. And that's just really good effort by Deku.
Deku's had kind of a rough season after going to the Pro Bowl last year for Atlanta, a year when they had a lot of takeaways, and he had 5 interceptions. He's been struggling a little bit, so that's a big play for him. Morstead, a kick going to land at 2, and it makes it to the end zone. So almost 5 minutes into the 3rd quarter. Neither team able to capitalize on their opening possessions of quarter number 3. Atlanta down a point, and they'll have the ball when we come back. Falcons have had 5 different combinations of offensive line, Mike, and they're struggling again tonight.
Yeah, watch Cam Jordan on True Blood. Uses that right arm, jacks him right back into Matt Ryan. And here's where there have been a lot of problems off Garrett Reynolds. Akeem Hicks with the swim. And Akeem Hicks again. This is a strength move from the inside. Just jacks him right back into Matt. And 3 sacks. Ness put innumerable hits.
That's been a problem all year. 40% of the time that he's dropped back to throw, he's either been hurried, hit, or sacked. And there's Jackson on a pickup of 2. And here's what we're talking about. Hit 7 times, 5 knockdowns, 3 sacks. Hard to not see ghosts, as you say, when you drop back at quarterback and you're trying to do a lot of it on your own, and you're missing some of your weapons like Julio Jones.
Yeah, I don't really care if you're Peyton Manning or any of the best quarterbacks in the history of the game. If you hit a quarterback enough, his eyes are going to start to come down, and his decision-making will be impacted.
Play action bootleg for Ryan here. Matt throws. Tony Gonzalez. No, it's not Gonzalez. It's Toilolo.
Yeah.
That's the rookie tight end out of Stanford. Matt spoke highly of him. We asked him about it yesterday, and he said, I think he's going to be a good one, especially down in the red zone, because I can see him, and you can't miss him. He's 6'8", 265 pounds.
He said in one of the earlier games this year, he trusted him on a throw in the back line of the end zone, and Toilolo did not come up with it. The following week, the same situation. The kid made the catch, and Matt said it really showed me something because he doesn't repeat the same mistake twice.
3rd down and 2. Saints bring up everybody close. Ryan will throw for it. Got it. Oh, and in and out of the hands. Darius Johnson's had a great game, the rookie, and just didn't take that one along with it.
Yeah, and there's an injury. I think Corey White is down. That was one of the few times the pocket held up. Matt Ryan had plenty of time. He puts it right on Johnson. And in his haste to want to run with the football, he throws away an easy 1st down. Ball was on his back shoulder, but he's got to catch that football.
This is going to be Atlanta's first 3 and out of the football game. So they've been able to sustain drives so far tonight, even though they're trailing by 1, and Bosher will have to kick. Not a very good punt, unless it takes an Atlanta bounce, and it does. Did it ever? And they might have been able to let that go a little bit further. I'm not quite sure.
The fans are booing.
They're booing everything right now. They're frustrated at 2-8. Centennial Olympic Park, downtown Atlanta. Tight game here at the Georgia Dome. There's a trivia question for Thursday Night Football. We asked you earlier, 2 quarterbacks that played each other the most times in NFL history, with Brady and Manning hooking up. Dan Marino, Jim Kelly. There we go.
That's a good one right there.
Well, you said it's going to have to be somebody in a division situation or somebody that's played a long time. We were going way back thinking Bart Starr and stuff like that.
Fran Tarkenton. Shows you how old we are.
So the Saints' second possession of the quarter. Brees, plenty of time, and all of a sudden he ran out of it and ran right into Parade Jerry. First sack of the night for the Falcons.
Breeze wanted to throw it to his tight end. Tight end's here, and he's coming up and out, and it ends up being really good coverage. The right guard, number 68, Timmy Lolito, remember, he's starting because of Jyree Evans. He was responsible for 3 sacks in the only start he had this year, which was against Arizona. And tonight, when he's singled up in pass protection, he's struggling. That time, Parade Jerry.
One of the 2 times the Falcons have had the Saints behind the sticks here. 2nd down and 17. Draw play. And across the 20 with a stiff arm and still going is Thomas. What a run. Best run of the night by either team. Here, Thomas with an 18-yard run on 2nd down and 17.
Yeah, and this is real football here. Watch Collins get on the linebacker and the collision. He's going to bury him, turtle him, put him right on his back. It's Warlow, the rookie from Delaware, who gets overwhelmed and then buried. And really good job finishing the run by Pierre Thomas.
Collins, 255-pounder with a huge block, and then just abusing the corner over there. Desmond Trufant with a stiff arm. And this is Robinson, the carry, out across the 35.
These Atlanta defenders are flying to the football. I thought from the tape I watched, they've been missing too many tackles, especially the last 4 weeks. Tonight, they're getting after it.
Warlow, we mentioned, in the last 3 games, 54 tackles. He had back-to-back games of 19 tackles. The only other Falcon to do that in the same season was Jesse Tuggle, who's in the Ring of Honor here.
Another free agent, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Jesse Tuggle.
Valdosta State, Blazer. And there's the blue hen of Delaware. Draw play. Pickup of a couple. Joplo Bartu, the other rookie linebacker, in on the stop.
Kind of like what Orlo said to us yesterday, talking about the transition from rookie free agent to starter. He said, you know, my first start was New England, and I was nervous, but I know what I'm doing. But then they put the microphone in my helmet the next week. And he said that was a whole different level. All of a sudden, I'm responsible for calling the defenses. And he said it's taken a little while to get used to that.
And now the veteran Sean Witherspoon trying to urge the crowd out here on another 3rd down. Cadet in the backfield right now behind Breeze. Wide open Jimmy Graham on the run. And Graham still going. Falcons trying to bring him down. He finally ran out of real estate, or he might have taken it all the way.
Wow. And all that is a natural rub on 2 crossing routes. You're going to see him come here and then Colston come here. And because of the rub, the defensive backs get caught up. There it is right there. Deku can't get over top. That's an easy throw and catch. And then it's a mismatch down the field, folks.
Well, you got to gang tackle a guy that big, but at some point you'd think somebody would at least get him out of bounds.
There's that stiff arm again.
He just keeps moving those legs and stays in bounds in a 35-yard pickup to the 27 of Atlanta.
Did I hear he was not a top 100 player in the top 100 player poll? Did I hear that?
I don't know why, but he's got 100 yards right now on 5 receptions. And here comes Ingram. Mark Ingram to the 23. Bartu again in on the tackle. And the Saints have got something working here with a 1-point lead. 6th time this year with 100 or more yards. Tony Gonzalez did it in the day, and now Jimmy Graham, who looks up to Tony Gonzalez, has 100 tonight.
Came into tonight with 12 catches of 20 plus. It just shows you how big time a vertical receiver he really is.
Under 5 minutes in the quarter. Empty backfield. Drew Brees on 2nd and 6, and in and out of the hands of Marcus Colston, and it was Sean Witherspoon back there that got a hand on it.
Talked to Spoon yesterday. He talked about playing with 2 rookie free agent linebackers, starting with him. He said Warlow is the guy that immediately picks up everything. He gets it. He spits it back out. Joplo Bartu, he said, one of the best and quickest outside linebackers he's seen in the pass game.
Witherspoon, the leader of the defense, right now trying to stop another 3rd down, and the Saints are 7 out of 10 on their 3rd down conversions.
This is where Corey Peters has won a couple of times tonight.
3rd and 6, Breeze across the middle and in and out of the hands again. This time of Meacham, and Atlanta's defense holds. Desmond Trufant made that play.
Yeah, he really did. He reached in and ripped that thing out. Breeze climbs the pocket, And again, Drew Brees to me tonight is not quite as accurate as I've seen him. This ball's thrown low and behind. Meacham's going to win to the inside. Now look where the location of the football is. The only place where the corner can get it. If that's out in front like a typical Drew Brees throw, that's a completion.
Garrett Hartley comes in for the field goal. He had a couple big kicks last week, but before that he had struggled in previous weeks. This will be a 41-yard attempt. Kick on the way, and this one's good. So the Saints extend their lead with 4:37 remaining in the third quarter. Jimmy Graham got him down close. Garrett Hartley got the three-pointer. 17-3 New Orleans. Thursday Night Football is brought to you by Best Buy. Get the right gifts at the right price. All at your ultimate holiday showroom. Talk about a swim move.
How about that?
How about that?
That's pretty cool.
17-13, New Orleans out in front right now. They're the number 2 spot as far as the NFC playoff picture, with the Seahawks idle this weekend and a 10-1 mark. The Lions and the Eagles are next.
That Green Bay team, Dan, I think the wild card, Brad, within the wild card is Aaron Rodgers. And when can he get back? They've lost 3 consecutive games with him out. I think that's the key.
Seneca Wallace and then Scott Tolzien, the 2 quarterbacks that have played with Aaron out. So after the field goal by Hartley, his kickoff will go deep into the end zone and out the back. So the Falcons will bring it out to the 20-yard line, trailing now by 4. Our city beat Jacksonville in a couple of weeks. And the Texans taking on the Jaguars on Thursday Night Football, December 5th. That's again 2 weeks from tonight, 8 o'clock, live on NFL Network. Will be our last warm weather game.
We head out to Denver, watch a couple pretty good quarterbacks.
Rivers and Manning will cap off our season out in Denver. Atlanta now needs an answer to that field goal.
5:25. Hey, let's go. Easy, easy. Chevy Stillwater. Chevy Stillwater. Chevy Stillwater. Express, express. Let it go.
Steven Jackson had to jump in the hole there and got 2. Was coming into tonight, New Orleans with an 8-2 mark, but Carolina right there, breathing down their neck after a big win on Monday.
I thought that was kind of a coming out party nationally for Carolina. Both as a team and their young quarterback took them down the field in the 2-minute drill, scored a touchdown. Cam Newton's having an awesome season, and I think Sean McDermott and that defense has done great.
They've got the Panthers still to come twice, the Saints that is. Matt Ryan somehow got out of that pile up in the pocket, and he completes it to Jackson. If he wasn't touched, he's got a first down.
Yeah, as long as Ryan didn't pass the line of scrimmage, and I don't think he did, that was kind of a nifty move at the end. We talked about how he's not fleet of foot, but he can move in the pocket. There's the awareness to stay up, and now he's going to get to the outside, eyes downfield, and flips it. And good job by Jackson getting up and finishing.
Finishing enough to get a first down at the 32-yard line. Now back, quick opening draw for Jackson. After the 37, 5 more for Steven. He spent all these years never having a winning team, all those tough years with the Rams, and wanted to come here because he thought Atlanta had the makings of a Super Bowl contender.
Yeah. I think Dirk Cutter, the offensive coordinator, is doing a nice job, Brad, keeping the ball, being patient with the run game, giving Jackson some touches.
Quiz Rodgers in there now. There's a huge difference between those guys, 240 and 185.
And they've moved Peter Kahns in the right guard. Garrett Reynolds had a tough night, and Kahns, the second-round pick from a year ago, back in.
Ryan has time, throws complete. Harry Douglas out across the 45. Malcolm Jenkins brought him down. But a pickup of 9.
Good route working against the rookie first-round pick Kenny Vaccaro. Remember, Vaccaro's a safety. He's a nifty safety with good feet, but he's still a safety. And that's a matchup you'd like to think you're going to win every time.
And here the Falcons want to go a little tempo again. Without a huddle, Ryan in the gun on first down.
Hey, easy, easy. Green Toledo. Green Toledo.
Douglas and White to the near side. Roddy White has not been a factor again tonight. He's to the bottom of your screen. Ryan flushed out of the pocket again. We're going to have a holding call. He tries to throw it left-handed. Too much Cameron Jordan.
Yeah, well, they initially picked this thing up. It was an overload to Ryan's right, but there was good coverage, and Jordan came in late working against Gonzalez.
Holding. Offense number 88. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Gonzalez working with the right hand up in the throat of Cameron Jordan. That's a mismatch. Gonzalez gave up a sack in their first game this year, week 1.
He's not penalized very often. He had one last week, too, in the loss to Tampa Bay.
No, he's one of the greatest tight ends in history, but at this point in his career, he's not as good a pass protector as he is a pass receiver.
Shell! Torch, torch! Green, shell!
So with a penalty, 1st and 20 for the Falcons.
Express! Let it go!
Matt Ryan steps up in the pocket this time and delivers a strike to Harry Douglas, who slides down at midfield, and a pickup of 14.
That's a pretty good job by being patient, good protection, and what he's going to do is read it off Malcolm Jenkins. They get a spacing issue in their zone, 4-man rush. See, he's turned to the inside. Matt's going to throw it away from him to the outside.
That's Harry Douglas's 6th catch of the night at midfield, 2nd down and 6.
Hey, easy. Green, Detroit! Green, Detroit! And then Express! Let him go!
Ryan scanning the field. Throws back to Tony Gonzalez. He just found a little soft spot in there with no defender around it. Alex.
Well, Brad, of course, Tony Gonzalez with 5 more games left in his career. We all know he's going to retire when the season is over, and he's seemingly taking it all in. Tonight he was the last guy on the field in pregame warm-ups and signed autographs and pictures. That was before the game even started. He said that, of course, he's disappointed in the season. Of course, he wanted to go to a Super Bowl, but he said there's a bit of a misconception about how he is here, because he says he's appreciative just to be in the locker room. Of course, he would like to win, but he said he's happy to be around football and really trying to savor it the rest of the season.
Falcons would love to urge him to come back one more time, but this is going to be it for Tony. Matt Ryan going to run with this one and get a 1st down. Out around the 40-yard line. We talked with Roddy White about that very thing yesterday and said, how weird is it going to be without Tony in the locker room next year? And he smiled and looked at us and said, well, who said he won't come back?
That's exactly. Remember what Thomas Dimitroff did is he basically said, you don't need to come to training camp. We'll pay you a lot of money, come back and help us win a game.
Well, he's going to try to help them win the 4th quarter, because right now at the end of 3, the Saints on the road looking for their 9th win and up by 4. In a division that's never had back-to-back champions since it was installed this way with the 4 teams, Thomas Benson on the left hoping that the Saints can do what they did 2 years ago. Arthur Blank, the Falcons owner, on the right, wishing his team was doing what it did a year ago. In this case, a 2-8 against an 8-2, and last year it was sort of flip-flopped as the Falcons won 13. 2 years ago, Drew Brees and the Saints won 13.
And a lot of criticism of Thomas Dimitroff and Mike Smith here in Atlanta, and to me it's more of an aberration, and I think you've got to double down on those guys.
Matt Ryan, first play of the 4th quarter goes to the old pro, Tony Gonzalez, and that's a pickup of 8. I think one question's already been answered tonight, and that is whether or not the Falcons are going to show up and play with some heart on their home field, and they have.
Yeah, the home turf division rival. Drew Brees comes to town. I think it brings out the best in the Atlanta Falcons, and they're playing as we hope, which is competitively.
Drew Brees against Atlanta as the Saints quarterback is 12-3, 12-4 overall. And right now it's Matt Ryan's Atlanta offense, so has a 2nd down and 2, and Matt has hit his last 5 passes. Anton Smith in the backfield with him. Got a carry earlier in the game. Ryan, quick throw in the middle. Harry Douglas to the 25, maybe the 24, and a 1st down.
Yeah, and they were anticipating pressure that time, and they got it. And who does Matt Ryan go to? The guy he trusts. Harry Douglas wins quickly. Matt Ryan puts it on him.
Harry is 5th year out of Louisville. As Mike mentioned earlier, Matt Ryan is 5th year out of Boston College, and they've spent a lot of time together since showing up in the same draft. Here's a draw play to Jackson. Picked up a couple. It's been tough to run against that Saints defense tonight.
The good news, though, is they've run the ball 22 times, and they haven't gotten out of the rhythm of the run game. That draw to Steven Jackson's been effective, and I think that's one of the reasons Rob Ryan's defense has struggled with these guys. They've been imbalanced tonight.
11th play of the drive. Ryan looks one way, screens it back the other to the rookie, and he dropped the ball. Was it a completion? The Saints are on top of it. And yes, it was. Darius Johnson, they're going to say it was a fumble.
The hustle by Keontae Dawson was unbelievable. There's the strip, and that's certainly a fumble. Keontae Dawson came on that tunnel screen from inside out, ripped the ball, and Corey White jumps on it. That's going to be our first turnover. And what did Alex tell us that Sean Payton said at halftime? It's going to come down to a late turnover.
So the rookie puts one on the turf, and the Saints have got it back with 13:07 to play. Thursday Night Football is brought to you by Mercedes-Benz and the all-new CLA, starting at $29,900. And by McDonald's. I'm loving it. Rob Ryan was loving that last play for the Saints defense.
This is how you win championships. Relentless hustle. Here comes Keontae Dawson off the edge. He's rushing the quarterback. Now he retraces his steps, hustles down the field, strips the football 5 yards down the field. They recover. Rob Ryan's got these guys playing fast and hard, and they believe in each other.
First turnover, as Mike said. So the Saints set up shop at the 13-yard line with a 4-point lead.
That kind of hustle play wins football games.
And whistle stops play. Delay a game as the Saints took too long. That's going to put them back at their own 8-yard line. Drew Brees a quiet second half so far. .300-yard games are just average for him. If he passes, it's going to be near his own goal line or maybe in his own end zone. He will. Steps up, hit as he throws, and it wobbles out harmlessly to the 30-yard line. Joplo Bartu is the guy that got the heat on Drew Brees.
Yeah, I thought that Jed Collins, the fullback, came very close to holding in the end zone. Watch what happens here. Bartu comes off the edge. The hand comes up high around the shoulder pads. But because the contact was initiated in the field, it wouldn't have been a safety, but I think they missed the call there.
Would have been very close, though.
Bartu still gets a piece.
So now it's second down. And 15 at the 8. Crowd trying to get into it for the Atlanta defense. Brees again, his own end zone, flips it out quickly to Pierre Thomas. Thomas with a head of steam, breaks 1 tackle and 2, and got a first down. That's what makes him so good. As a receiver out of the backfield, and he gets the 15 they needed.
Yeah, some mistakes by the linebackers here. First, Paul Warloo right here is going to take a bad angle. He's going to get caught inside. Right there, he takes an angle inside, and then the missed tackle by Weatherspoon. So you have 2 of the 3 linebackers making costly mistakes. Saints get a big play.
And now they got some room to work out to their 24-yard line. Saints got an extra lineman in there, and they'll keep it on the ground. Mark Ingram trying to get to the edge. Knocked out of bounds by Weatherspoon on the far side.
Big Ben Grubbs, the left guard there, did a nice job getting out in front along with Josh Hill, the backup tight end, who's a pretty good blocker.
Saints came into the game second in the NFL in time of possession. Right now they just like to chew a whole bunch of that 12 minutes remaining and at least get a field goal, which would put them up by a touchdown. Second down and 7. Two tight end set for the Saints.
Yeah, Jimmy Graham one-on-one out with a small rookie.
Breeze flips it out there to the other tight end. He's got a first down. Might have run out of bounds, but I think he still got the first down. He stepped out after a pickup of 9.
Yeah, remember the basketball player Jimmy Graham? Sets a good pick here, pal. Natural feel for this. Watch him come in. Sets a pick right there. Now, I'm a defensive back.
Yeah,
I'm going to keep my mouth shut. They don't ever call that.
So that's another receiver utilized by Drew Brees tonight. And another first down at the 36. Bootleg. Just kind of throws a dart in there to the same guy, Josh Hill, for 7 more yards.
That was an interesting read by Brees. He went high to low, neither open, and then just hit a little check down.
So if you want to be a receiver tonight, you're having fun. We've had 15 different guys catch passes.
Oh, jeez. There's been pretty good quarterback play tonight from both our guys.
Really
Matt
has.
Ryan, 24 for 31, no picks. Drew Brees, 20 for 29, no picks.
Brees has 2 touchdown passes.
Now, this is where you beware Jimmy Graham. Look right here. They're in a 3-by-1 set to the top of the screen. The one is Jimmy Graham down at the bottom.
And he goes to Thomas out of the backfield. Broke another tackle of Witherspoon. And he's out and into Atlanta territory with a pickup of 13. Aaron Sproles not in uniform tonight. The rest of the guys are picking up the slack.
Yeah, they're just working 2-man side with Jimmy Graham and Pierre Thomas. Graham came inside with a little natural rub, made it almost impossible for Witherspoon to get over top of him. Drew Brees works that 2-man route into the boundary as well as any quarterback in the league.
Under 10 minutes now. And the Saints in Atlanta territory at the 44. Trying to sweep the season series from Atlanta after winning the opener at the Superdome.
Watson jumped.
Offense number 82. 5-yard penalty. It remains first down.
Really, the penalties haven't really hurt the Saints. Even though they backed themselves up into long yardage situations, they've been able to fight out of that.
They're number 1 in the league in time of possession, as you said. They've been averaging almost 6 penalties a game, though.
They've got 4 tonight. Atlanta with only 2.
Ready, my son?
Here's Ingram. Stood up by Bartu. Actually never did go down.
This is one of the few poor reads by Ingram. Usually he comes downhill. Watch this thing set up. It's an outside zone where he's going to pick it. Now he should stick his foot in the ground and get behind his fullback right here. Look at that hole. That's an easy read. It doesn't get any easier. Nick Saban's sitting at home right now going, no, no.
Ingram goes out. Upset with himself, I guess. Second down at 15. Pistol set, Cadets behind Brees. He's going to flare it out to him. Nice throw, led him perfectly on the run, but he only got a couple of yards out of it.
Yep. Covered by McClain again, the nickel. At the University of Connecticut. Lightly acclaimed out of college. He just keeps working and getting better and better.
Well, if this is not the biggest third down of the ball game for the Atlanta defense, I don't know what is.
The next one.
Third down at 13. This is the longest third down for the Saints tonight. Brees got some early pressure, going deep into coverage and knocked down by Trufant on a pass intended for Meacham. So they get the stop they needed.
Yeah, they brought 6. I give Mike Nolan credit, man. They're coming off the edge, off the for the nickel. They bring the linebacker. Here comes the nickel. He steps up, and then the throw down the field. Pretty good coverage, but it's the pressure that really makes this. Double move, not bid on by the rookie corner. Gets up in the air, Desmond Trufant. Nice job.
Falcons got just enough pressure on Brees that he didn't get all of that pass that he wanted.
Let him go! Let him go.
Morstead with the punt. Clear caught back at the 9-yard line by McLean. The Falcons are down 4 in their home building, but they've got the football back when we come back. 17-13 New Orleans, 7:53 remaining. Atlanta with its worst starting field position. But they do have their hands on the ball with a chance with just under 8 minutes to go. Jason Snelling is the single setback behind Matt Ryan. He's going to throw from his own goal line. Maybe, maybe not. Down he goes again. Just too much pressure on Matt Ryan.
Yeah, they got immediate outside pressure from Dawson that pushed him up into the pocket. Then big John Jenkins from the University of Georgia, all 300 and I'm going to guess what, 60 or 70 pounds.
Yeah.
Depends on how many pancakes this morning. Matt Ryan's getting a ton of pressure right now. This offensive line struggling. They're hanging in there, but they're struggling.
And they've tied their season high, allowing 4 sacks to Matt Ryan, and now he's in a tough spot in his own end zone.
Yeah, and they've got Gillette and Jordan in at defensive ends. They're coming.
Ryan slips, throws over the middle. Steven Jackson hesitates and tries to get a head of steam going, but Roman Harper brings him down. He did get back to the original line of scrimmage where it's going to be 3rd and 10. This is where you'd normally think Tony Gonzalez would be a target, but he just came off the field. Right.
No, I think he's out there. He's out there.
No,
Lolo came out.
Lolo came out 80, not 88.
And they got Roman Harper on him, the safety, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a double team there and force Matt Ryan to go elsewhere.
3rd and 10. He looked that way initially. Across the middle. Roddy White hasn't done much tonight, but he just did there. First down, Atlanta.
Yeah, they've stayed away from Keenan Lewis, who's been a really critical free agent pickup from the Pittsburgh Steelers in the offseason. He's going to look this way first and then come back and get right here inside. Nice job by Roddy White. He's number 3 inside. Keenan Lewis gets beat up a little bit physically, and Roddy White wins that battle.
Falcons with an extra lineman. Roddy White comes in tight on the left side. They're going to run it here to Jackson, trying to power it up the middle, and got a couple. Under 6 minutes remaining. Atlanta with the ball, but trailing. Drew Brees tonight, a couple of touchdown passes, including a 44-yarder to Jimmy Graham. Matt Ryan's been harassed all night, sacked 4 times, under pressure. Graham's been over 100 yards again on the season. And a 17-13 New Orleans lead with 5:20 now remaining in the ball game.
And that was a huge first down Atlanta picked up there, obviously.
Matt Ryan's hit his last 9 passes. 2nd down and 8 here from the 24. Throws down the middle, and it's complete, and it's Tony Gonzalez. And it's career catch number 1,300, and it's a big one. Wow.
He's going to get over top of Lofton here. And Matt Ryan makes a great throw over Lofton's shoulder pad in front of the safety.
Now first down out at the 41-yard line. Empty backfield here for Matt Ryan. On first down, again across the middle, and it's Harry Douglas into New Orleans territory inside the 45.
Yeah, he beat Roman Harper across his face. I'm not sure whether Harper thought he was in zone or man, but here's Harper. He starts to go where it says he's coming, he's coming. It looked like zone, and inside Lofton didn't see the crosser.
And the Falcons go without a huddle. Matt Ryan's got something working here.
Green Seattle. Green Seattle.
First down at the 44 of the Saints.
Express. Let's go.
At the 4-minute mark, Ryan, pressure coming, fires outside, and going to the deck to get it is Drew Davis, and it's a catch. Keenan Lewis doesn't think so.
Hands are underneath. Looks like he had full control unless he lost it. Down there, I can't see.
9 different receivers utilized by Matt Ryan now, including Drew Davis, the 2nd-year pro out of Oregon.
That was a veteran quarterback. He moved his offensive line to the left to pick up the overload blitz, and he went back to the right.
Under 3.5 to go. Tony Gonzalez in motion across the formation. Jackson, second man through. Steven Jackson powers his way to the 30. Tough running by Jackson, picks up 7 more.
Yeah, DeMarco, the fullback, gets a heck of a block in the right side of the line, allowed the cutback. DeMarco gets a block, and these guys are going to come. Nice cut right there in the hole away from Akeem Hicks. Steven Jackson's having a very solid night.
He got it inside the 30 to another Atlanta first down. 12 straight Matt Ryan completions. And on first down, he'll throw again. And this one's knocked away from Tony Gonzalez by Kenny Vaccaro, the rookie safety out of Texas. Well, he's done it before. He's been in a lot of these situations in his 6 years. 22 career game-winning drives in the fourth quarter or overtime.
And by the way, none this year.
Right.
So all 22 of those came in his first 5.
So Atlanta's going to huddle up here. And Matt Ryan says, no, we're not huddling up. Just get out there. I'll make the call at the line.
Traffic cop.
Express.
New Orleans late getting out. They're trying to get Roman Harper out on Jacquizz Rodgers.
2 seconds on the play clock. They get the snap away. Ryan in trouble. Down he goes for the 5th time tonight.
You know, I really thought he should have taken a shot here to Drew Davis. So Drew Davis is running straight down the field out here, one-on-one with no safety help on the outside. Throw it up and let him take a chance. You pull the ball down, take a sack. I saw that last week against Tampa Bay. And look at Jordan. Cameron Jordan is just abusing, regardless of whether he's lined up inside, outside, whether it's a guard or a tackle. This kid's having a year.
He's having a night. 2.5 sacks. Which puts him around 10 for the season. And Atlanta now 3rd down and 15. They took over at their own 9-yard line with just under 8 minutes to go. And Matt's been sacked 5 times tonight, season high. He's been hit several other times, hurried just about every throw. Yep. And now he's got the biggest throw of the night coming up, 3rd down and 15. Field goal does Atlanta no good unless you think you can get the ball back another time.
Now you're in 4 down territory here. With 2 shots to get a first down. I'd look for crossing routes.
Douglas, the motion man. He's been on a lot of crossing routes tonight. Ryan pressured, has to throw away before he wanted to, intended for Douglas. And Matt goes down again as soon as they let go of the ball.
Yeah, an unblocked defender this time was Roman Harper. Okay, he's coming in off the edge. Rob Ryan bringing heat. It looks like an overload here, so he turns his line to the left. Harper untouched to the right.
And the owner gets it on one hop.
Hey, nice catch, Mr. Blank.
Good hands. 4th down.
Oh, look at this.
They're going to try the field goal and then try to get the ball back. 52-yard field goal attempts. This is a guy that's they blew the whistle before the kick and he hit it. I was going to say outside of 50 yards, doesn't miss very often.
He made his last 9 consecutive from 50 plus, which takes us back to 2010.
So the Saints took a timeout before the kick. We'll take a timeout with 2:24 remaining. Matt Bryant stood about 12 yards away from everybody, including his holder, during that timeout. He hit the 52-yarder as Sean Payton got the timeout before it was good. Now he's got a second try to see if he can knock it through again and make it a 1-point game and then put it on the shoulders of the Atlanta defense to try to get the football back one more time. So Bryant from 52 again. Kick on the way, and this time he missed it.
You can just kind of feel the air deflate from this stadium. He made his last 9. I think it's almost an analytics equation where you say, okay, are the odds better of him hitting a three-pointer from 52 and getting Drew Brees to go 3 and out, or are the odds better to convert a long 4th down?
And this one goes wide left by that much, and the score remains the same. And now the Falcons really do have to rely on the defense because the line of scrimmage is a 42-yard line. And Drew Brees is playing with a 4-point lead.
Ball's gone. Nothing. Come on.
And the NFL films look. He knew it. After the first one was perfect, the second one wasn't. And Sean Payton's timeout looks brilliant at this point. On the ground and try to chew up some clock is Pierre Thomas as he gets out to the 46-yard line. Guy that's been so dependable for Atlanta. And that one got away. Atlanta takes its first time out. 2:14 left. The 2-minute warning will stop it, of course. You can watch Red Zone and NFL Network live on tablets and PCs. Download the Watch NFL Network tablet app or go to NFL.com/watch NFL Network. Matt Ryan can only watch now and hope that the defense comes up with a play against Drew Brees and company, or Atlanta won't see the football again, and they'll see their record go to 2-9 while the Saints go to 9-2. But still 2:14 to play.
Yeah, if you get 3 and out, there's plenty of time. You'll just have a long field because of the punt.
5-6. Ready.
Back-to-back drives by Atlanta into Saints territory. They fumbled once and then they missed the field goal. And now Brees going to fire. Wide open in the middle is Meacham. And Meacham, with a flag down back near midfield, picks up 18.
Going to be on Atlanta. They'll probably decline it. That was beautiful by Drew Brees. Just a
Holding. Number 94 defense. That penalty's declined. Result of the play is a first down.
He went with his 3rd read on this bootleg. He read high to low and then got the cross. So when he comes out on this bootleg, you've got the deeper route to the outside, the short route to the outside, but then he plants his feet and comes back to the crosser. Robert Meacham, who's been very quiet all night, just put the dagger in the Atlanta Falcons.
9th different guy that Drew Brees has utilized tonight. And a first down at the 36. Into the middle of the heat goes Thomas for a couple. And that'll take us down to the 2-minute warning. Officially 1:58 remaining. Thursday Night Football is brought to you by Lexus. The Lexus December to Remember sales event is here now through January 2nd. And by Bose, the official home audio sponsor of the NFL. 1:58 remaining here at the Georgia Dome. The Saints have the ball and the lead. And the Falcons have only 2 timeouts remaining. The Saints trying to go to 9-2.
Saints have an extra tackle in the game. They're trying to protect their edges so there are no early penetrations into the backfield.
Thomas up the middle and breaks another tackle and still going. Pierre Thomas inside the 20. Man, tough run.
Yeah, Jed Collins, the fullback, is wearing out Paul Warlow, the inside linebacker. Some great collisions.
And Atlanta's down to 1 stoppage remaining as they take a timeout with 1:48 to go, and the Saints driving with a 4-point lead. Saints trying to go to 9-2, and they're only 1:48 seconds away from doing so. Coming up this weekend, here's some of your homework, Mike. Good games.
Yeah, I'm anxious to see if Carolina can handle success. Huge win Monday night. Can they go to Miami to a surprising Dolphins team that are 5-5? And let's give Joe Philbin some credit for keeping that ship afloat, and their offensive line coach, Jimmy Turner. I don't know how he's doing it, decimated by injuries.
Here's Thomas. This time it's Ingram. Ingram takes it down close to a first down. We've got a flag down in the backfield.
And also this weekend, Brad, obviously, the Colts have to go to Arizona. Anxious to see if the Colts can take care of business against an NFC West team.
You know what might be fun to watch is the two long boys going at it as the Rams play the Bears. And Kyle might have to block his big brother, Chris.
Yeah, and Howie got off from his Fox duty so he and Diane could go watch the game.
That would be nice, wouldn't it?
On the play.
Okay. And the other game, obviously, is the Brady Manning matchup, which the entire country will watch. Pretty awesome.
Holding. Offense. A 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Matt Ryan. This would be his 4th loss at home if this holds up right now.
Mike Smith is jumping up and down out on the sideline.
We talked to Mike yesterday. He said we've had success, and when we have, we've done it together, and we're in it together this year. As his team is a minute 43 from being 2-9 after a 13-3 season last year.
Look, the guy's 58-32 in the regular season with 2 division titles. To me, it's a tough year, a lot of injuries, I get it, but it's an aberration. If it becomes a trend, that's a different conversation.
This backs it all the way up to the 28-yard line.
Look at Peyton.
Number 79 is reporting eligible. Number 79.
Bryce Harris, I should say, the tackle, is eligible for New Orleans. So it's a little different look right now at the 28-yard line, but again, Atlanta's only got 1 timeout left. And it's 1st and 20. Ingram follows his fullback, gets inside the 25. Orlo made the stop, and Atlanta can only stop it one more time, and they will right here. Minute 37 remaining, and Saints, this is what they've got coming up. That's going to be a great battle with the Seahawks, and then they've got Carolina twice.
Look at that 4-game run. 3 of them on the road. You've got to go to Seattle, then you host Carolina, and by the way, St. Louis is a physical football team.
Right, they are. One of the great front 4, young front 4s in football. Jimmy Graham, another big night, over 100 yards and a 44-yard touchdown. And that young man was hoping to rise up, but might come up a little bit short.
That's pretty adorable right there.
We were talking about Howie Long having the weekend off. We want to wish the best to Dan Deerdorf, who has announced this week that this is going to be his last year, a Hall of Fame player, a Hall of Fame broadcaster.
Yep.
We always love listening to him, and we wish him the best when the season's over and whatever comes next. Drew Brees, a little hesitation, takes a knee. Reminder coming up right after the game. Rich and Dion, Marshall, Michael, and Mooch will be live on the field breaking down the action, complete with highlights and player interviews. You want to stick around after the game for the NFL Total Access postgame presented by Mitsubishi Motors. The guys are getting geared up down there, and it's a little over a minute away. So the 89th renewal between the Saints and the Falcons, the oldest rivalry in the NFC South. It's going to get a little bit closer now. Atlanta's won 46 of them. This will be win number 43 for the Saints. And more importantly, they stay right on the Seahawks' shoulder as far as having the best record. And boy, you talk about teams wanting to get home field. If you get the Superdome at home field, or you get Seattle's home field, you've had a huge advantage.
Both of New Orleans' losses on the road this year, at New England, at the Jets.
Good hard-fought football game here in Atlanta tonight. And Mr. Benson Saints are going to go back to the Big Easy at 9-2.
If you watch the 2 games that these 2 teams played this year, you'd come away in a vacuum, just these 2 games. You'd come away saying, man, they're 2 good football teams. Yet one of them is going to be 9-2 and the other is going to be 2-9.
So 12 seconds remaining. The NFC playoff picture. We're just going to put that 9 in there, even though we've got a few ticks left on the clock. And then the Lions, and how about the Eagles? They're playing good football right now.
Well, their defense is playing so much more consistently, and their offense is a constant.
Nick Foles has been playing lights out.
Lights out. And how about Bruce Arians in Arizona?
Yep.
6-4, have them believing that might be the best division in football.
And the Panthers with that excellent defense and an improving offense and a maturing Cam Newton. They're at 7-3 in the wild card picture. So it's 4th down and 19. I don't know if Drew Brees can scramble for 12 seconds or not.
Well, they're not going to kick a field goal because you get it blocked and run back is the only way you can lose effectively right now.
Ready? You ready, boys?
And he is going to run around a little bit. And there's a few seconds. And now he slides, and Atlanta will have 1 play left. Well, there was a time about 1980 when Steve Bartkowski threw one up for Alfred Jackson on the last play of the game, a touchdown that beat the Saints.
How about you?
A long time ago.
How about you going Bartkowski? I like it.
The only guy that's thrown more touchdown passes than number 2 in Falcon history is Steve Bartkowski. So Atlanta's got 1 chance, and the Saints have everybody. They got Jimmy Graham at the 5-yard line. If that gives you an idea what they want to do as far as a safety back there. There's Jimmy right in the middle of the field at the goal line.
Usually when he's in the goal line, it's when they have the football.
So Matt Ryan's going to throw it as far as he can, or try maybe a hook and ladder job here, because Atlanta's got 1 last play.
This is probably going to be a chaos situation.
And there's Harry Douglas, and now here comes somebody looking for somebody to lateral it to. I don't know if that was a forward pass or not. Flags are down. It was. And Quiz gets it back. Matt's going to throw it a second time, but again, there's flags all over the place. We had a forward lateral at part of that. And down the sideline, Harry Douglas knocked out of bounds. Crazy finish to a good football game. And Atlanta falls to 2-9 and loses their 4th game at home. And the Saints go to 9-2. And a lot of the fans that are left in here are wearing gold and black, and that's why you hear the big round of applause for New Orleans. So New Orleans wins it. 17-13 is the final here in Atlanta. Don't forget, 2 weeks from tonight, the Texans and the Jaguars on December 5th, 8 o'clock. Join us from Florida. We'll be back in a minute with the NFL Total Access postgame presented by Mitsubishi Motors. Highlights, analysis, live interviews, and press conferences. Stick around. Saints over the Falcons, 17-13.